Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another scene set in the Death of Dark Crusade Season 2. On this fine evening, we set our scene at the doorsteps of the Chantry, the new Chantry of Edessa, the former having burnt down in a terrible blaze, taking much of its lore and knowledge with it. A terrible shame, a tragedy, and a great crime to those who seek to retain and maintain and care for knowledge, academia. However, just as some things are burnt to ashes, they may also rise anew from them, and as such, a new chantry has been raised. A backup, as it were, to the old chantry. A contingency plan in case the worst came to pass, and that it did. But in doing so, Clan Tremere still finds itself with a safe haven, even if it is within a most inhospitable environment within the city. And that is where we'll begin our scene as we focus on Aldrich, who appears to have been doing some light scrying for the past hour and a half. Scrying on a very particular individual, a very particular creature, as he gazes into the black-tinted mirror surrounded by a pool of clear water. He gazes upon his quarry. His prey for this evening, his assignment, his target. The creature that has since escaped him, but no longer. As it comes home to roost within the Arab slums. And ends its conversation with a young Setite. As she vanishes into thin air. And that is where Aldrich is free to act.
So Aldrich would have put on his padded armor under his robes. Would have put the long sword at his side, and after leaving his particular room in the chantry, he would seek out Flavia. Yes. He and Flavia had a conversation prior, and he wants to ensure that she's prepared and ready, and that yeah, we're good to go. We're good to move.
Flavia, after pulling in your favor with her, your rapport, she will agree to help you, but she does a voice state, just so you know, I do not have, like most K-Knights these nights, permission to walk around openly. I have a ritual which will make me effectively invisible for a few hours. Not exactly useful for hunting, as it dissipates as soon as I perform any overt physical action. But it should be useful for this task, at least until we reach our target. Those without the sight should not be able to see me.
Of course. I shall have my due diligence and do my absolute greatest to have you returned in a similar fashion, if you require the assistance.
It shouldn't be necessary, but I appreciate the gesture nonetheless.
Polite bow of head. Very well then. Our time is limited. Do not know when reinforcements may arrive or how close they are. Again, I appreciate your assistance in this matter.
That will be noted, Adept. I'm just looking up a ritual particularly real fast. And why isn't this? Come on, Foxit, come on. I don't know why it's not just open already.
Sorry, while it's loading out, what did she say?
She says that will be noted, Adept Aldrich. Adept, you're being your rank within the pyramid. It basically is someone without necessarily a formal position within a chantry, but a Tremere who is old and skilled enough to have mastered a path of thaumaturgy.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, a rank above apprentice. Like you're no longer just a mulling. Probably you're probably an adept of the first few circles, as you've not yet mastered a second path, I believe.
Nope, getting there.
Yeah, you're probably, because of the amount of paths you do control, though, you're probably a master of, or sorry, an adept of probably the second to third circle, probably second. Seventh being the most experienced and first being the least, so. Yeah, this goes way too slowly, I'm just going to do that. Okay, let's see. Oh, actually, this is interesting. She offers to cast it on you as well. She can cast it on the both of you at once.
Yeah, no, I'll accept it.
It does add 5 minutes to the casting time, but other than that, it says she'll just roll. I'm just going to double check her stats for it.
Actually, no, go ahead. Yeah, sorry.
Okay, she gets 4 successes, so you're going to be masked for up to 4 hours, although any form of overt physical action will break it. So the effects of this power are that so you're not quite invisible, you are translucent, and your form appears dark and smoky, and your footsteps are muffled. While this ritual doesn't create true invisibility, but it makes you much less likely to be detected. Individuals under the mask of shadows can only be detected if the observer possesses a power such as Auspex sufficient to penetrate or escape stream. But if you do strike, then similar to obfuscate, the ritual will crash and it will end immediately. So yeah.
Truly remarkable, Flavia. Excellent work.
It's a fairly recent invention. I'll teach you it sometime. But I believe we have a task ahead of us.
Indeed. And yeah, with that.
Does Aldrich have a burning blade with him?
That's a good question.
Did he make any?
Not prior to the scene. That would cost additional expenditure of blood points if,
Okay.
unless you'd allow it.
I mean, I'd be happy to spend some of the blood you have acquired this scene, and again, Flavia would offer to do one for just make one for you. That is something she's quite skilled in. Actually, she'd have several, so she'd just give one to you. She has like 5 of these, and they don't have a time limit, if I recall, so they last a long time.
Yeah, at that point, Aldrich will just like take his sword off of his side, leave it in like like the equivalent of the umbrella basket by the chantry door, and just kind of swap it out with this one.
Yeah, you just put the sword into your sheath. It does not ignite other objects, so you can literally put it into a standard weapon sheath. It won't burn. It won't burn it away. Yeah. Other than that, you're free to lead the way. Flavia, despite being a magister, does recognize this is your assignment, so she sees fit for you to kind of do whatever you want on this.
So yeah, they will proceed to the location, taking going to a route that is the quickest and least populated. That way, they have less obstacles to bump into, given their shrouded state, and also, yes.
Yeah, normally you'd have to roll for this, but you have a ritual that effectively makes you invisible to anyone of our specs free. So, yeah, you continue onwards. No one really notices you at all. You actually really begin to see the effects of this ritual. Nobody even pays you any mind. Like, you can literally walk down the middle of the street. You literally walk. At one point, you get unlucky, walk past a bunch of guards. They don't even register you at all. They don't register you. They don't even know you're there. The only sign that the ritual might be fraud is when a guard kind of turns around, kind of does a double take, as if like he feels like he saw something. But he's quickly called back up to the rest of the group and just kind of shrugs it off, passing off maybe the translucent figure or the dark silhouette in the shadows as something of just him, really just not paying attention. Just he turned too quickly. He misinterpreted what he saw. That's kind of what he put us down to. Just hurries on his way. As you kind of head down into the Arab slums, you see there's still plenty of crime afoot. Less of it. Less people. You see the reconstruction efforts taking place in the Arab slums. It's actually beginning to come underway quite nicely. It's still in its early stages, but it's actually occurring now. You see that the foundations of you see that certain homes have been demolished and the foundations are being relaid for new and more modern ones, more stable ones. Seems like the risk of fires being taken into account as well. These houses don't appear to be particularly cheap to construct. You can see the mason work, the brickwork. You can see the labourers getting underway. You can see the man leading these labourers. Could be an architect, could be the architect, could simply be a middleman. He's yelling at the labourers, directing them. There's a lot of guards around there, and as you're looking to take a lesser populated route, you kind of quickly walk around it and leave it be. Which does not really take you. Just takes you a minute longer to get where you want to go. But yeah, you soon as you head deeper into the Arab slums, you can see how the reconstruction project still has a lot of work to cover. There's still a lot of abandoned homes, still a lot of buildings that have sort of crumbled into each other. You see the remnants of what was once a very large block party, one of Ahanif's famous festivities of the Arab slums. Much less so now. There aren't many people about. There are no there are no parties, there are no festivities, as sad as it is. But you can see its aftermath.
Mm-hmm.
You've heard of these. It's quite the street rumor. It's quite the street gossip. But as you move past one of the blocks that Ahanif uses for her effectively softcore riots, you begin to approach what you recognize as the crumbling haven, maybe even small domain of the Tremere's once faithful servant. You don't see him though. He's not at the entrance. It's kind of like two kind of. It's two largely wooden buildings which have kind of collapsed into each other. And they kind of sit and mounted atop a great deal of debris. So it's to the point where it's like half a floor up.
Okay.
But you don't see him. He's probably inside. Like there is no door. It's again like it kind of at the top of the debris. There are two clear entranceways to both crumbled buildings. As you kind of analyze it, you kind of realize how unsuitable as a haven this place is.
Mm-hmm.
Like Canaanites can make their havens in a lot of places, but you see a lot of points where this place could be vulnerable to sunlight.
Aldrich will ask Flavia how nimble she feels after assessing the sturdiness of these two buildings, if I may. Like if he thinks that they may be able to, like, is there a window to sneak from one into the other, and if so, would it be structurally sound enough to do without giving away their shit?
Oh well, this building is certainly not structurally sound. I can say that much. But there is a broken window. The wooden flaps just kind of hanging off one of their hinges. It's actually further down the debris, funnily enough. Just a little bit down from the main entrance. You do look around, you do see a few other windows kind of around the side of these buildings. Like, it's basically a bunch of debris, and they're kind of these two crumbling buildings have effectively blocked off a road in this neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
And like, as the kind of, if you imagine the debris in like the two parts of the building where they've crumbled in, almost like a bridge with a roof on it. And it's just kind of covered, kind of softly covered by decaying wood. It's like a soft wall. And then they both, like the crumbling entrances, both go to their respective buildings. Both of which are quite. They appear to be like it's as if they were made for more than one family. It's comprised of a couple floors.
Okay.
Probably one family per floor. But I mean, there is no second floor now. It's really 1.5 floors. Also, this you rolled a 9 on D10. There is also there is one of the entrances, one of the doors to the building on the right is the lock on it is broken, and at the building on the left has a door made up of 2 wooden flaps, like a top flap and a bottom flap, so you could open like half a door.
Okay.
So people can kind of just peer out of it as if it were a window or something.
Yeah.
And the kind of higher up, the upper half of that door is just kind of just hanging open.
So, the building the gargoyle typically resides in is the one that is that has more stories, does not have the broken latch, but has the split door. Correct?
You don't actually know which one he went into, because your scrying ended before he entered the building proper.
But yes,
so he could be in either building.
Okay, Aldrich, is is evident by my blue booking, as we've talked about before, describes him with some sense of regularity. Is there a building that he typically goes to?
He appears to use both.
Excellent.
He appears to treat both these buildings as his own. He's slept in both in the past, or has gone into both. You're not sure if he's slept there. Like, you usually end your scrying before daybreak, like usually an hour or two before, because it's just safe and good practice, really. But he's definitely spent a lot of time in both buildings and seems to treat them both as his collective haven. The kind of the crumbling part of both these buildings almost being like kind of like basically a busted tunnel in a lot of ways, like which is its effective purpose. Like, the roofing is largely broken. You certainly couldn't pass through this sort of connector during the day. The sunlight would break through, and the middle part on top of the debris is completely, like, there is no roofing there. There is no wooden covering at all on any side of these two kind of crumbling, connecting pieces of these buildings.
So there's no ceiling.
There's no ceiling, at least for the sort of the two parts of the buildings which are connected via the debris. But there is still damaged roofing that is slowly falling apart on both buildings. More on the right side. The left side, it's largely just flooring, which is protecting that haven from the sun at this point.
Okay, with Power Motion 3, am I able to take a passenger with me? I think it said I am.
You can only carry yourself at level 3. Level 4 would allow you to take passengers.
Okay,
I'll just double check for you, but I'm pretty sure level 3 is when you learn to fly yourself, but you don't necessarily start doubling your weight or anything. I'll just double check real quick. Okay. Yeah, level 3 you can carry up to 100 kilos. Just check average weight of you.
And that's in addition to oneself?
Yeah, so the average weight of a human is 62 kilos. Flavia would have to be very underweight, I guess. She'd have to be half. Yeah, she'd have to be almost half the average human weight. So probably not. You could carry like her and some you could carry her or yourself and like some minor additional effects that equal around up to about 40 kilos. But you couldn't carry both of you. Like, that's beyond your capabilities right now. You can carry yourself or you can carry her, but you can't carry both of you right now.
Okay. Yeah, Aldrich wants to get a look at that like from the ceiling, see if he can get in from the ceiling. Through the roof in the in the connecting area, and he'll say as much. He'll say, "Followers of, as you very well know, the followers of Set are not stupid people. I believe that if there is some manner of trap in the front entrance, I doubt that they would have accounted for the opening and the lack of ceiling there. I do possess the ability to." They'll just fucking say fly.
As do I. You wish to enter from above?
I believe it grants us the highest chances of success. Unless you have greater insight.
It would probably be the least defended option. I can't imagine too many Setites being here. And I don't know any Setites that can fly.
Indeed, nor I. So, yeah, I think the first course of action would be to like get the best look around that we can at like everything before getting in there.
Okay. Just want to roll your power of emotion then?
Sure. It's a blood point and then spend willpower. Or roll willpower. It's a path, 7d10 less than or equal to. It should just be diff 6 because it's the third level power.
Yeah,
right?
Oh damn.
Yep.
Flavia is fine. Flavia is flying like a bird, right? We're all flying like birds right now.
Right behind you, Bay.
Yeah, so you all fly like birds. You kind of just seamlessly transition from the ground into flight. You don't even really leave any footprints. You leave no trace. Like that's just how seamless your levitation is. You just kind of gently start lifting yourself into the air. And you feel a very real sense of control. You don't feel unsteady. Gravity or wind, what air resistance doesn't really seem to hamper you in any meaningful way. And you definitely feel the tight, steady pull of magics kind of ensconcing you, keeping you afloat very very steadily, very firmly yet freely. You don't feel it hampering your movement at all. You feel how to put it, a very flexible, very flowing. Like it's almost as if it's not like flying like a bird because there is no air resistance you have to fight against. Like with this amount of successes, like you just transition perfectly. You account for basically every variable, and both of you do that. And that will last on yourselves for effectively the entire scene until you choose to make the roll again.
So yeah, if there are any like open windows to look through first, he'll probably mention that first to see if there are any open windows, any cracks in the walls we can look through. Basically, get as much information as we can before we act.
Yeah, you initially fly up from above. You can see the kind of connecting the the kind of intermingled floors of the two buildings that are very clearly, and you can see where they both lead down into. They have what both appear to be like. One appears to be the remnants of a bedroom. The other one appears to be, well, you're not really sure. There's nothing really there to state what it was, but it was probably another bedroom. And you can both see on both sides, on both buildings, the remnants of stairways. The one on the right is more intact. The right side building just appears to be more intact in general. It's still horribly damaged, but it appears like the further sides of the building seem to be not falling apart. Whereas the left side of the building has really, it's just that is probably the building that collapsed. It probably collapsed into the right side building. Is probably what you can tell. I mean, the right side building definitely has faltered and decayed and slowly begun falling to pieces on its own, but it appears the left side building probably is the one that leaned into the right side building. And just caused a holy hell of a mess on the ground. You can see clearly into those, and as you kind of descend from the first, well, the half floor into the passageway, begin looking through cracks in the floor, just kind of levitating above the floor so that you don't make any noise.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see anything in the left side of the building. Not the left building, sorry. You begin to slowly move right. Flavia will take point for you. She begins to kind of she looks down the stairway. As you move along the intermingled floors and into the room of the right side building and down the stairway, would you like to make me a quick check as you do so? Perception, alertness.
100%. May I activate Auspex?
Yes.
So, including Auspex, what's the diff?
What's it? You can't. Or probably be diff 4.
Alrighty.
What senses are you using? To be fair.
Specifically sight.
Okay, that will only be okay. That will probably be diff 6 then.
So,
and after that, please make me 2 perception awareness rolls, difficulty 8 for both of them.
Okay, so perception alertness, diff 8.
Yes.
Is that including Auspex?
No, it's diff 6 including aspects.
Okay, so
Slight basis is really hard to see.
That's fine.
And so it's not as helpful as other senses for this round. So
that's fine. So 2 rolls, diff 6.
Just make the first roll diff 6.
Okay.
Okay, get
2
2
successes.
successes. Now make 2 perception awareness rolls, difficulty 8.
Okay. So my pool goes down by 1, and the difficulty is top diggity. Fingers crossed. So here's the first one. 2 successes. Here's the second one. 1 success.
So there is, on the first floor of the right-hand building, there's kind of remnants of a large wooden kind of pillar that would have helped kind of hold up the ceiling and the walls. Basically, it's kind of like a support beam. And you see this woman looking directly down at Flavia. She seems to have spotted her somehow. Or seems to be looking in a vague direction. Her eyes appear to have narrowed. You're not sure if she appears to be looking at Flavia, but you're not sure if she's spotted her, if you know what I mean. Her eyes appear a little bit scattered. It looks like she's still looking.
Okay.
You notice her skin has become very scaly. You also spot in an alley completely just adjacent to the right-hand building, this guy.
Okay, so he's completely outside of the building in the alley.
Yeah, he's quite lax. He doesn't seem to have spotted anything.
Okay.
He does have a weapon out, to be fair, though. He has an axe out. Has a hand axe out. But he appears to be carrying himself with a kind of lax confidence. He appears a little bit bored, to be honest.
Okay.
He's just kind of walking around, performing a patrol rather laxly. Comes back around, kind of goes around both buildings. You lose sight of him as he kind of... Actually, no, you don't, because you're floating in the air. So if you keep track of him, you'll notice he goes around the right side building, around the debris that blocks off the road, round to the left side building, then back around to the front.
So that's essentially his patrol route. He's making like a big circle around that building.
Yeah, basically.
Right.
But there are times where he just stops and just looks incredibly bored.
Okay.
And you can literally hear him just kind of sigh to himself and mutter something.
Sure.
And he just kind of twirls his axe out of tedium.
Can Flavia see Aldrich?
I'll say that you have good vision on each other, yes.
He'll make the he'll put a finger over his lips and then gesture to the Setite's direction. Like he'll put his middle and index finger towards his eyes, and then over to her, and then he'll kind of like wave his hand in front of his face like John Cena.
That's gonna make her it's gonna cause her to make a check of her own. She gets 1 success. Okay, she gets 1 success on them both. So you see her look up, and there's a brief look of alarm on her face. She looks directly at Nabetta. You can tell that she spotted her. She looks directly into her eyes.
Oh, the Setite has spotted her now.
No. Flavia is looking directly at Nabetta, not the other way around.
Oh, okay.
Nabetta seems to be aware something's going on in that region. You actually see her begin to you actually see her, looks like she's going to make a motion to jump down. She doesn't have a weapon out, but she seems, for some reason, there's some. She seems to have spotted something. Maybe, actually, maybe a what's a cult roll to see what she might be looking at.
100%. Depending on the diff, that is.
That is a fail, I'm afraid.
Would you allow me to roll at a higher diff? Try again at a higher diff?
Afraid no, sorry.
Shit.
No, you can't really grasp what Nabetta seems to be suspicious about, because you're aware this ritual makes you effectively invisible. Maybe she might have caught a glimpse. You're aware it doesn't make you quite truly invisible. It makes you translucent. Yes. So she might have spotted kind of a fleeting glimpse at Flavia or something. but you shouldn't really be able to be seen, so you're not sure why she's so suspicious about this area. She will hop down. She's quite nimble about it. She's very athletic. She's very careful about how she climbs down. She's surprisingly gentle. She lands on the floorboards and they kind of give off a loud creak. One of them cracks ever so slightly. But other than that, it's fairly surreptitious. And she kind of begins slowly closing in on the area where Flavia is. Flavia attempts to kind of slowly begin backing away. I know she's going to make a roll. Wait. She hasn't done the thing yet.
Okay.
You don't know what she's doing. In fact, you can't sense what she's doing at all. This is not something that you can sense.
No, I'm not trying to. I apologize. I see her advancing, and what I was thinking is to maybe cause a diversion.
Okay, cool. Just let her make. I'm gonna say I'll have her make this roll first because this would happen before your diversion. What's your current willpower?
3.
Your current willpower is 3. Okay, well that's probably a good thing in this situation.
Oh, okay.
Because she doesn't actually have a ton of dice to this. So 3 willpower is good, very good. Yeah, she gets 5 successes. She spends a willpower point of her own. You can sense a presence in your mind. Do you accept it? It is not trying to force its way in. It is doing so openly, so you don't have to roll to detect it.
Right. Is he familiar with this? Will he be able to?
Roll me perception awareness. Difficulty will be 6.
3 successes.
You literally possess this power. You know that someone is trying to contact you telepathically in some form or another.
I will accept this collect call.
Okay. You literally hear Flavia speak inside your head. We will need to destroy the gargoyle in. Well, actually, no, she won't say the gargoyle. We will need to destroy the slave instantaneously if these two are here. The one above, the one approaching me is just a neonate. She appears to be backing away from her slowly, and Nabeta doesn't seem to have caught on yet. The other one is an Ancilla, a powerful one. We want to be careful with him.
Right.
They're both warriors.
If is the Setite still advancing on Flavia as they're having this discussion?
She appears to be looking around. You actually see her jaw begins to shift, and it begins to transform.
Nice.
It becomes elongated. She extends her fangs, and the fangs thicken and grow longer and larger. Her entire jaw becomes larger and elongated, and even dislocates slightly.
Oh yeah.
And you can see her snake-like tongue kind of just slowly kind of extend. And she begins to put it to the air. And she hisses. Rather softly. Aldrich,
yeah.
You can see that this seems to draw Setite's attention. This seems to draw the attention. Sorry, Setite. I mean, fuck, I'll give you the name. This draws his attention. He's still an obfuscate. He doesn't appear to have broken it. He's done nothing to break it. And you know he's still an obfuscate because your Auspex is still fighting it. But this draws his attention. You can see Nabeta's obfuscate fades. You feel it. The kind of wave you're pushing against the Auspex fades away. And your Auspex washes over her.
Okay. So she's still going on Flavia. Like,
yeah, she appears to be making. She appears to have really caught on to that someone's here now.
Oh, sure. Fuck. Aldrich's gonna say in the mind link. I can create a distraction, perhaps buy you more time, or should I advance?
Allow me to cause a distraction on your behalf. This is your assignment, after all.
Yeah. If she says as much, she'll just say, you know, Godspeed and and fucking yeah. He'll head for
the slave is downstairs. Make sure to have a plan to escape once you're done. I probably will not be here.
Of course. And he'll say he'll just say well you know, like Godspeed. And yeah, head for downstairs as quietly and quickly as possible.
As you begin to head downstairs, you see Nabeta's head begin to kind of slowly turn towards you. You see Flavia kind of lift up into the sky, and before Nabeta can get a beat on you, your translucent form a pillar of flame is going to erupt from the left side building. She's going to make a roll.
Oh, Flavia, honey.
She gets 4 successes. Yeah, so for top floor of actually no, this would be enough to cover a house almost. This is certainly enough to cover this wreck, the left side wreck. As the center of that building just explodes into fire. You are fortunately far enough away from it that you do not have to roll for Rodtrek. But that fire is going to spread, putting you on something of a light timer.
Excellent.
This will draw the attention of both other figures who are far enough away. Setite's view is largely obfuscated. His view is quite literally largely obfuscated from the fire. He's at the front side of the right-hand building, so he doesn't actually see all of the fire goes off. He just kind of sees an orange blur kind of erupt from his peripheral vision as he kind of spins around to look at it. You lose sight of him as he does this, as you head inside the building proper and down the stairs. And Nabeta instantaneously turns. Draws her weapon. And they will both spot Flavia, as this will break her mask. Not yours. And Nabeta's tongue will extend to begin lashing out at Flavia from a distance, as will Setite's. He changes his form remarkably quickly. Actually, no. Setite begins to become something else. Setite, as you kind of, again, you lose sight of him, you see him begin to grow in size. his body hair begins to become somewhat thicker. He grows large, almost cat ears.
Oh.
Extremely large, kind of like a weird mix between cat and bat-like ears.
He's a cat boy.
His size begins to triple. His mouth begins to extend into almost like a dog's jaw. But at that point, you lose sight of him. The only thing you kind of hear is some sort of horrifically disturbing roar.
Yeah, the link still maintained. He'll still, proceed further down, without delay, but still mention to Flavia, flee if you must. And he says it or doesn't say it, thinks it with a sense of urgency. Flee if you must. Do not die.
I'm fine. Complete your task. The way she responds is very muffled. She's clearly in the middle of something. The fighting there will ensue. You hear the smashing of the door as you head downside. The gargoyle just misses you. He doesn't quite hit you. His wing almost brushes at your face as he begins to dart for a door. He doesn't appear to be sticking around for this bullshit.
So is he passed?
Yeah, it appears he was just kind of resting, as you kind of walk down the stairs. He was probably to the side of the stairs or beneath the stairwell itself.
Okay. Yeah. Before he can really get anywhere, the second he gets an angle that the gargoyle is here, interrupt action. He's gonna activate invisible chains.
Okay. I need to remember this guy's stats. Yeah, no, go ahead. Roll that shit.
Come on. Three successes.
Okay, he begins to dart for the door. He actually does break it down before you chain him. And you see his arms fling back and his feet kind of entrench themselves into the floorboards as he makes a sudden gasp.
We're still downstairs, though, right?
Yeah, this will break your Mask of Shadows.
That's fine. Ultra Cool Grimace and can he lock eyes with him?
Roll initiative.
Oh, fair enough.
I think this guy. That's 3 decks, if I recall. It's a classic. Nice guy rolled well. Okay.
Nice. Really nice.
You catch him by surprise, but he seems to take his fight or flight response seriously. And rather than running, he will now dart towards you. He will spend for potence. I'm not going to have him roll on this because he gets 4 automatic successes.
That's fine.
So he can instantaneously break the chains. And he will lunge at you and make a roll to strike you.
Can break them and attack in the same turn?
I believe so. Because it's like a grapple. If you break the grapple, you can act. Breaking a grapple does not take up an action.
Okay.
because the reason I have that rule is because, like a grapple, you could basically instantly, you could infinitely chain this combo. You could chain a ritual, sorry, to constantly chain people, so they could never act, because they'd always be spending their main action getting out of, so they'd need celerity to do anything against the chains.
Okay.
Best support ritual.
Potence 4 hot.
Oh yeah, let's go to freaking boss. Blood. Ooh, okay. I know he has a lot of strength as well. He gets +1 from his claws. He'll be doing lethal damage to you.
Okay.
So that is 2 + 4 + 1. He's only 7 lethal.
Sure.
Remember, you can reflexively raise your stamina, at, so you can spend the blood to raise that if you feel pressured.
I would like to.
Yep. How much do you spend?
Just the one. So that brings my stamina to 4, plus my 1 armor is 5. So 5d10 less or equal to 6 or ones don't take away from soak, do they?
Ones don't take away from soak, no.
Okay.
The gargoyle simply says to you as he strikes you, "Even in death, it is your loss, usurper."
Yep,
So
and
2 of the 7. Oh, take 5.
yeah.
You can also heal. Because you only spent the 1 blood.
Yep. And on my turn, I will. How much can I heal?
As much as your blood can, as much blood as you can spend. Keep in mind, healing does take a stamina survival check.
Sure.
You can spend a willpower point to get a success on that, but keep in mind you can only spend 1 willpower point per turn.
Yeah, I can only spend like 1 more period. I'm on 2 willpower. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm gonna spend 1 to heal.
Okay. Roll me stamina survival. The blood isn't expended if you fail to check. The roll basically dictates whether you can.
Sure. Do I have survival?
Yeah, it's standard diff. If you don't have survival, diff 7.
I do have survival.
Yeah, I remember. I recall you having it like a dollar or 2.
Yep.
Man, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Oh, you still have 2 blood points to spend somewhere.
As a free action, yeah, he'll just ask, "What have you told the snakes?" In fact, he'll say, "Tell me, and I'll be gone."
Are you lying? Or are you deceiving him?
After taking this much damage, he might actually consider just leaving. So, I mean, if he can, if he can do what he needs to do, he will. But I think it's a little difficult to say that he's outright lying.
Oh
But he
yeah, no. Subterfuge does apply to things outside of direct lying. It basically is: are you deceiving him or manipulating him in some way? Is basically what I'm asking. Or are you just being straight genuine? Like,
no,
yeah, I'll leave. It's fine.
There's something to say. At this point, I kind of want to just leave. But yeah. Yeah, he'll. I'm gonna have to roll for it. So that's 60, 10, diff 6. Yep. Chris?
Yeah, 60-10. He'll roll empathy, which he has shit all for, so. Well, I mean, he doesn't see through your ruse. He kind of grabs you by the scruff of your neck, but doesn't. I just want to make clear, this doesn't count as a grapple. Combat will temporarily cease.
Okay.
But we will keep these initiatives.
Of course.
So it will basically remain your turn, because this is a free action. Everything. Not like it matters. I heard you moved. His voice is his voice is guttural. It's barely understandable.
Aldrich says, was done to you was wrong, and that I cannot reverse. What do you seek now? What can I do?
You can leave me in peace.
What will you do then? Continue to tell our secrets to the highest bidding ear.
You earned it.
I did no such thing. My comrades, perhaps.
You came here to dispose of me. And you fool.
This you are not.
You were sent here to end my life.
And I will not treat you as a fool. You are not incorrect in this matter. However, I'm no fool either. A man knows when he is lost, and a man knows when something is wrong.
I'm gonna take a look at your shoe real quick.
Huh?
I just need to look at your shoe real quick. That's all. Why didn't I have your shield? I feel bad. Empty words.
To you.
And to you. If you believed it was wrong, you would not be here.
I'm here because you threaten my existence and the existence of my kind here. I am here for a purpose, and while perhaps it is not that, others, I'm here for a purpose nonetheless. I, too, wish the right to exist. You must be able to sympathize.
Your existence is predicated on the enslavement and destruction of others. You stole blood, and you stole my life.
My clan has. I have done no such thing.
And yet you backed for your clan. You trip over your own words.
It's something that would take more than one instance to explain. I hope you understand life is not that simple.
He tosses you to the ground rather roughly with his thing. Like, he's clearly very, very strong, and it's obviously what he was built for. Oh, it's very simple. If it were not as such, it would not lie to my face.
I do no such thing.
You recognize the evil of your actions, yet you came here to end my life. You stop now because I defeated you.
Lie does not predicate on survival.
And yet you say you are here because I threaten your survival.
Indeed, as you have. You threatened it yet again.
I act in my own defense.
As do I.
You started this war.
I've arrived less than a year prior.
Do not attempt to manipulate my words. You know the war I speak of. I was on its front lines. His wings widen. His hands grow a little bit more, his claws grow a little bit more crooked.
Give me the time to speak with you. Not here, as clearly the situation has developed further. Put a small amount of trust in me, and I shall ensure that you do not regret it.
Charisma expression, difficulty 10. You're a Tremere trying to rationalize, negotiate with a freed gargoyle. That is not an easy feat.
Glad that I brought up my expression. Can I spend a willpower on this?
You can.
Because Aldrich's survival kind of hinges on this, and I really don't want to lose this character.
This is true. He did get a very good roll.
But I spent that point of willpower.
Yeah, man, that was... You got a 10 on the first dice and a 1 on the last. Man, almost wish you had less expression, huh?
Yeah, tell me about it.
60-10 are like the curse of the dice. Like, they're not as high as 7. You can't guarantee the successes. But you can definitely guarantee those ones.
He'll like Aldrich will go even so far as to say, your choice and location, I will ensure that I am not followed. I wish only to speak, and should you find offense in my words, or otherwise, you then hold the keys to flee without anything in my power whatsoever. When we speak, I will not look at you. I will hold my hands in front of me, at my side, wherever you please. Every non-threatening gesture that I may. Award me the smallest bit of your trust you may. I will repay it.
I fear what will happen to us both if you don't.
Give the means out of here without being seen.
Sorry, what did you say about getting out of here and seen?
Yeah, he like, does he have the ability to? Does he have the means?
That causes him to chuckle. He seems amused at that.
Is there something Aldrich should know? What? I don't know.
No, that's fine.
I,
Actually, roll me Tremere Law. Difficulty will be 8 though, because this is really Gargoyle Law, which doesn't really exist yet, but is specific to gargoyles.
sure. 70, 10, less than 2.
And this is fairly obscure knowledge.
Fair, I
So,
still says, yeah.
so you're aware of what gargoyles were built for. They were built to fight. And they possess a unique ability. They possess the power of flight. This is something that was almost unexpected in their creation. They formed a discipline that no other canine seemingly possessed. Of course, the Tremere can replicate it via telekinesis, so it was never really much of a concern to them. But recently, fairly young gargoyles, embraced within the past 5 decades or less, as they have aged, have begun exhibiting a strange new discipline. A strange new. It would be perhaps it would be premature to call it a discipline even, but a strange set of powers, similar to that of a discipline, that seem to be connected to their stone-like appearance, their connection to the earth, which in many ways, and there's been many theories on this, whether it is connected to Vitismisi's connection to the earth. A very worrying proposition to many. Whether it is connected to the gangrel's protean, their ability to shapeshift, their ability to emulate nature and the elements, or whether it is something else entirely, as it seems to resemble aspects of both powers, of both of not vicissitude, but of both Vitismisi's mystical connection to the earth in the form of their blood magic, their elemental magic, and the gangrel's ability to shapeshift. A fourth power that seems to come naturally to them, unprecedented in canine society, as canines are known to only possess 3 innate clan powers. Gargoyles have recently been exhibiting a fourth. A name has not yet been given to it, as they do not yet know if it's actually a discipline or just a strange subset of abilities native to the gargoyle condition. It could even be combo disciplines that gargoyles are learning instinctually. No one really knows yet. But one of them is the ability to camouflage themselves. You've seen this ability. It effectively is kind of emulating the earth around you in its color. It's fairly basic. So he definitely possesses the capacity to camouflage himself and get out of here unnoticed.
Then yeah, Aldrich will simply nod at that, and say, yeah, when you wish to get in touch with me, leave a note, if you may. And he'll yeah, he'll tell the he'll give him the address, or at least the location of Johanna's old haven. Actually, yeah, knowing where that is, would that fall into somebody else's domain currently, or is it in that blank space?
I think it would actually. I think it would either be Giles or Priscilla's domain. I don't recall. I think it would be Giles. In any case, the gargoyle does offer an alternative.
Okay.
1 second, just actually look up the street name.
In the interim, is the mental link still there with Flavia, and has she indicated how she is?
Yeah, she's not really picking up all of your conversation because she's very, very busy.
I mean, like, Aldrich isn't sharing it through the communication either, so...
That's true.
She's
not reading your mind, and she can't see through your eyes unless she kind of forces it. If you don't let her do that, then she won't.
Yeah, no, she won't.
You really don't want her to know this.
No.
No. Come on, where is the goddamn thing? Come on. My apologies for the brief delay.
You're fine.
There we go. "48 hours. Floor of Tordon Mosque. It is on Adelat Road."
Does Aldrich know where that is?
Yeah.
Is it in anybody's domain?
Arab slums, but not in the domain of any of the Setites there. It's because the Setites like procured like the left edge, the deep southeastern edge. Sorry, the south edge, the southeastern edge, and the northern border of Prophet's Quarter. But they don't actually control the center or the border around the Assamites domain. So it would be fairly easy for you to reach.
Okay. Yeah, Aldrich will confirm then.
Bring no one else.
Likewise.
And he will camouflage himself with the environment. You can still you still see him briefly before he darts out the door. At this point, the fighting appears to be slowing down outside. Flavia, towards the end of the conversation, says she was extricating herself. She was flying upwards and could no longer reach the sides of her flames.
Mm-hmm.
She actually said she was never really fighting them. She was just burning down the building to keep them on edge. She didn't want to fight them directly. She didn't want to get caught for breaking their fifth. But she says you should get out of there now because their attention is turning back towards the area where the gargoyle was in.
And Aldrich will confirm and get the fuck out.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any is there an exit that isn't the one that was kind of crushed behind him?
I mean, the gargoyle basically made one because he's actually too big for the door. His wings basically bulldozed through like the wall around the door.
Right. Yeah, if that's the only exit, then he'll make his way out of it. Quickly. Very quickly.
Yeah, the Setites have been sufficiently distracted by Flavia, so...
And, yeah, he'll let her know when when he's safely out, and he'll start, making his way back with all the haste that he can.
Yeah, you're running. You meet back with Fluffy at the Chantry. She appears to have gotten there a few minutes before you.
Aldrich's robes are slashed, and he's worse for wear. And he arrives with a faint limp.
Are you all right? She offers you some healing paste.
He will accept graciously and say, "Thank you. I feared I was nearly spent."
What occurred? Did you destroy your target?
I knew this was coming, but yeah, Aldrich, he'll. I'm sorry. What?
Sorry. Yeah. Continue. Sorry about it.
Sorry. He's he. With the blood bond into consideration, like he can't necessarily lie.
It is hard. It would require willpower expenditure or roll. Let me just check, because you're only 2 levels bond. You're 2 levels bond. You're not fully bound, I think, unless you got the floor for it.
No. If you will allow it, he will simply admit that the gargoyle had escaped.
Someone's gonna make a frenzy check. Dice isn't terrible for it. She has 3 dice. Oh shit.
Damned if I do, damned if I don't, Chris. Would she have spent a willpower?
Nah. When I have people make frenzy checks, I don't have them spend willpower, because then there's no point in an NPCs making a check.
Kind of.
It's because then they'd automatically succeed, and then I don't need them to roll, right? Nah, she's gonna lose her fucking shit. It was diff 7 because she feels humiliated. Ironic.
Yeah,
it really is. Yeah, I'm just going to use your initiative. I mean, you can re-roll if you want.
I'm fine with it as is. How much health would you have gotten back from the healing paste?
I think it heals. It heals like 2 lethal per installment, right? And that can heal ag.
Yeah. I honestly don't know, but I'll go with whatever you rule, man.
Let me double check, because I can just find this real quick. It shouldn't be particularly hard. Okay, it heals an ag, so yeah, it'll probably only heal off 1 lethal. She gave you 2 doses, though, to be fair.
Alrighty.
You get before she loses her mind, you get 2 health levels back.
Excellent.
She will roll now. She's doing botch, so she doesn't like completely lose control. But it's not great. She gets a lot of plus initiative. Okay, she gets 14. You can roll, because I know you'd be going last of your current initiative. So if you want to see if you can beat her, go ahead.
Sure.
She's only going to be doing bashing because, well, yeah, you go
Hey!
first. You see the glimmer of frenzy in her eyes as she just something snaps in her when you say that.
Yeah, I'd like to try to end the frenzy if I can.
So only Song of Serenity can end a frenzy, but you can use Dominate and Presence at higher diff. Well, Presence, the person being subjected just gets an easier dice, gets easier diff to resist. But for Dominate, you can dominate people in frenzy. They'll still have to obey you. It won't end the frenzy, but it will be at a. I believe dominating someone in frenzy is +2 difficulty. Current willpower would be. I think she actually spent one. No, she spent blood. I don't think she spent a willpower. So difficulty for her is. Oh, it's going to be 10 if you want to dominate her. She's willpower 8. Tremere, man.
Sure. It's all I have right now, so
Could always try to chains her.
my last point of willpower, I got nothing.
Does chains require willpower?
No, it's yeah, you're right. It's a blood point.
Yeah, it's blood point. It's not willpower. You should. You say. I still think you got like. Oh no, you spent. Yeah, you're on 1 willpower because you spent for the charisma.
Well, no, it's when you roll rituals though. You roll permanent, not your temporary. Or no, you don't even roll fucking willpower for that. You spend.
Yeah, you roll paths. For paths, you roll your permanent willpower rating and spend a blood point.
Yeah, but since this is a ritual.
So it's just intelligence occult, which I think is even higher for you.
Yeah, no, but I do have to expend a willpower for rituals. At least that's how I've worked it so far.
I don't think you do.
Really?
No, I'm just gonna double check, but I am absolutely certain you don't spend a willpower for rituals. You just spend a blood point.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, you might be owed willpower. Casting rituals requires the expenditure of 1 blood point, 5 minutes per level to cast, unless stated otherwise. And a successful intelligence plus occult roll for which the difficulty equals 3 plus the level of the ritual, maximum 9. Yep, no willpower involved.
No willpower?
Nope.
Fuck, I should have more willpower than I thought then. Shit. We'll have to talk about that afterwards, but yeah, so.
We'll talk about, yeah.
Yeah, I'll spend a blood point then and roll it.
Nice.
Wow.
You have been freed.
I have.
Liberated from the shackles of willpower expenditure.
Jesus Christ. That's 5 successes.
Yep. She gets 3 dice to break out. Before she does this, I will roll her self-control. She needs 5 successes maximum. She'll be rolling difficulty 7 because that is the difficulty at which she rolled at. So she gets 1 success. She's defending. She does not break out of chains. She's literally just shaking, like pulling against these invisible chains. You can literally hear them rattling as she just growls like a dog, like just a feral animal.
He'll keep his eyes on her, and they're full of they're full of shame and sorrow. And he'll just, he'll say, From the depths of my heart, I am sorry.
She will do a roll again. Just spend a willpower this time. Okay, she's almost there. She'll roll again to break out of chains.
Sure.
Oh, she does this time.
It is difficulty 8.
Ah, yes, you're right. It's difficulty 8, not 6.
And requires 2 successes, so she only has 1.
Okay, she has 1. Yeah. I mean, she can make that roll extended, so next roll she only needs to get an additional success, but maybe she'll be out of frenzy by then. She'll spend another willpower.
I fucking hope she's out of frenzy.
This is why animalism is good, man. And she's almost there. She's got 4 successes. She's still pushing against the chains, just growling you the whole time. At this point, some of the neonates start to walk on out. Kadir shows up. He will just make sure that when she's pulling and rapidly waving her hands and like twisting her ankles, you actually hear her ankles twist, but she doesn't seem to take any damage, or like she doesn't seem to register the pain of it. But Kadir just puts her in a grapple position so that if she does break free, he'll be there to stop her.
Mm.
I really don't want to botch these final rolls.
Oh, just break free, homie. You got this.
Okay, she doesn't break free. Come on, man.
To break out of frenzy, is
there
that
you
defeat?
go. Okay. It's diff 7 for her.
Okay.
That's the difficulty of what she rolled her self-control check, so that's the difficulty of making her other self-control checks out.
Okay.
She finally breaks out of frenzy. Finally.
And yeah, as soon as he sees the indications of it, he'll drop the chains immediately.
Kadir takes a moment. She drops. She is panting heavily. She it's weird. She comes across as tired in a very human way. She doesn't really look at you. There's just a lot of conflict on her face. And Kadir unhands her pretty abruptly and very deferently. Takes a lot of steps back, immediately distances himself from the situation. And she'll just kind of begin hobbling away from you, kind of clutching to her chest with one hand. And an empty bowl of an empty pestle of healing paste in the other.
For his part, Aldrich is barely standing, his back pressed against the wall, and he just looks at the floor.
And I think there we can end our scene. Thank you, player, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. We'll see you next time.